upgrading vSphere 4 to vSphere 5. Make sure your server meets the minimum requirements: 2 CPUs, 2 GHz minimum, 4 GB RAM, 4 GB disk space, or 6 if you're doing an in-place upgrade, and a gigabit network card. As you can see, the virtual center that I've got is at 4.1, and that's the one I'm going to be updating to version 5. Make sure you've got a decent backup of your virtual center server. If you're going from 32-bit to 64-bit, there is a tool supplied within the virtual infrastructure manager there. It's called data migration, which allows you to run a backup on your old virtual center server using this batch file here, and you can import it on the new one. I'm not going to be using that, I'm just showing you the tool so you know it's there if you want it. You can, of course, if you so wish, build yourself a nice shiny new virtual center server rather than doing an in-place upgrade, but that's what we're going to do. Okay, before I start doing the in-place upgrade, I'm going to manually stop the virtual center server service. Now that that's stopped, minimize that. Within the set of files that I've already extracted into a folder on the desktop, I'm going to fire up auto run. And after a few seconds, the new vSphere 5 splash screen will come up. There we go. By default, virtual center server is selected, and that's what we're going to be doing an in-place upgrade of. So simply hit install. Take a few seconds to spool up. At the welcome screen, simply click next. It's detected already that there's an earlier version of virtual center server. Agree to the end user license agreement. Next. Now, I'm not going to put a license key in. I'll sort all that out later. Of course, you will need vSphere 5 keys. Your vSphere 4 keys will not work. Okay, that's just telling us that update manager installed on this server and it's using the database. That's fine. We're going to update that in a minute anyway. So click OK. I'm going to select to upgrade the existing virtual center server database, and I'm going to tick the box to say that I've taken a backup copy of both the database and all certificates. And click next. I want to automatically update all the agents on my machine. That's fine. So click next. And I'm going to use the administrator account on this box. I'm going to need to type in the password for that. Click next. I'm going to accept the default install directories. Click next. I'm going to accept the default ports. Next. Next, we have a small less than 200. I don't have more than 2,000 virtual machines, so I don't need to select that option. As you can appreciate, this takes quite some time, 15 to 20 minutes ish, depending on how well your server performs. So I have speeded this up dramatically for the sake of the video. Now this server has already got Update Manager on it, and I'm going to be using Update Manager later to perform the upgrade of the host themselves. And that's the Virtual Center server updated. Simply click Finish to exit. Now, as I've said, this has already got the older version of Update Manager. We are going to update that in situ as well. So select vSphere Update Manager, install. It's detected that there's an early version on there, that's fine. Next. Next. I accept. Next. I'm going to untick the bottom option to download updates when I finish. This is my test network. I don't want to drag a ton of stuff down when I finish, so I'm going to untick that. Next, manually type in your password for the Virtual Center server. Click Next. That's fine. Next. Yes, I would like to update the database, and yes, I have taken a copy of the database. I do have internet access, but I don't go through a proxy, so I don't need to select any of that. Simply click Next and install. Again, this takes quite some time, and once again I have sped it up for the purpose of the video. It's just warning you that it needs a reboot. Just when it's done, click OK. That's Update Manager updated. Simply click Finish. The last thing on our list of tasks to do is to install the new VI client, because of course we've still got VI client version 4 on here, so we're going to need to update that to version 5. Select the vSphere client and click Install. Next. Next, I accept, yeah. Next. Organization. Tap in your details. Next. And click Install. And click Finish. We're finished with the setup screen now. We're also finished with the services console, so we can close that down. Now I'm going to open my new VI client, talk to my new Virtual Center server. Okay, don't forget we haven't put any keys in, so we will be in evaluation mode. That's fine. Simply click OK. Now, our first task, you'll see there that the Virtual Center server has gone up to version 5. Smashing. That's as we would expect. Our first task is to put in the plugin for the Update Manager for the new one that we have just installed. Download and install the plugin to our VI client. Yep, run. Okay, next. I accept. Next. Install. And click finish. Okay. That's installed. Simply close that down. Now let's maximize that so we can see what we're doing. And with our virtual center server selected, the top level, click the Update Manager tab. And we want to go to Admin View. And we can now click on ESXi Images tab, and we can load in the install media for ESXi 5 that we're going to use to update our hosts. Click Import ESXi Image. Now I've already placed a copy of the ISO on the root of the C drive of the virtual center server, so it should be reasonably easy to navigate to and select. There it is. Next. Now in reality it takes 5 or 10 minutes or so to import these. Once again I've sped it up, so if you're following along you might want to hit pause or go and have a cup of coffee. Once the upload has been successful, you will see the following. Next, what we're going to call our baseline. Let's call it something sensible, like ESXi 5 baseline. And click finish. Now you can see there's our imported ESXi image. Smashing. So next we're going to want to go to baselines and groups and create a baseline with that image in. There she is there. Jump across the compliance view. And we're going to attach the baseline that we created earlier. There it is at the bottom. ESXi 5 baseline. Attach it, and you will see that it has picked up two things that it can be attached to. Obviously those are both the hosts. To force that upon them, you need to click remediate. Now I'm only going to apply to one of my two hosts because the other one's running my virtual center server and I don't want to mess about with that while I'm doing this. So I'm only going to upgrade ESXi 2 at this time. I accept. Next. Okay, if you've got any odd bits of software that you've installed, particularly if you're upgrading ESX, you might have UPS software in there, HP management software, this will remove it. You need to be aware that that's going to happen, otherwise things could possibly break. Next. Leave everything else on the defaults. Click next, and next again. You can expand that and read the summary if you so wish. I'm simply going to click finish, and in our recent task you'll see remediation is occurring, and that'll tick away in the background. Now obviously this is going to take quite some time because it's upgrading an ESXi host. In reality what you'll find is it will shoot across to 22%. It will sit there for a very long time. It will get through to the end under its own steam, but it'll take quite a long time. So what I tend to do is jump across onto the ESXi host and keep an eye on it, and when the update has been performed you can select the option on the screen of the ESXi host to reboot it to speed things up a little, which is what I'm going to do. There we go. That's me on my host. Simply press enter to reboot. It will do it in its own time, but it'll take ages. So as time is of the essence, I'm going to hit enter and let it reboot. That's coming back up and reconnecting to the virtual center. Okay, that's remediation complete. So that's 100% and it's completed. That's fine. So if you select the host now, you will notice after a few seconds when it refreshes that it should come up as ESXi 5. It does. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move my virtual center server from the host that it's on onto the one that I've just updated. I'm just going to vMotion it across so that I can update the other host. I should imagine in a production environment you've probably got more than 2 hosts or quite a lot of guests that you're going to need to vMotion about and or power off, etc. That's me moving across to the other host. Now it's going to take quite some time and there's no real value in you watching that happen, so what I'm going to do is I could, if I wanted to, use Update Manager to update the other host. However, I'm going to do an in-place upgrade, put in the CD and boot it. Select Standard Installer, and this is me manually updating the host. Select Enter to continue. Select F11 to accept the end user license agreement and continue. Okay, it's seen our previous install. Select Enter and scan it. Now I'm going to click Force Migrate. The reason why it's giving me this error message about VIBs is because the ESXi host is running in VMware Workstation. Now I know it's going to work, so I'm going to click Force Migrate. If you're in a production environment, you might want to have a serious think about if it's moaning about missing drivers, sorting that out before you continue. But I know this is going to work because I've done it before. Force Migrate by pressing F11. Okay, when it's done, it'll say it's completed successfully. Simply press Enter to reboot the host. And that'll go down and come back up again, and when it comes back up, as you can see, it's picked up all the correct details that it had originally, its IP address, its name, its settings, etc. So when I go back into Virtual Center and I select it, you will see that it's at version 5 also. So now both my hosts are at version 5, and so is my Virtual Center, but we're still not finished. What we need to do now is update the data stores, which are VFMS 3. Now you'll see my shared data store there is on NFS, so that's really an option in a production network. Your shared data stores will probably be VFMS, mine are not. However, to show you how to do it, simply select your VFMS 3 data store. If you have a look at the properties, you'll notice that this is with a 1 meg block size. Biggest file size is 256 gigs, so that was the standard on vSphere 4. We are going to upgrade to VFMS 5. You get an error message there to say only ESXi 5 hosts can access it. That's fine, because we've got 2 of those now. Click OK. And that'll tick away in the bottom if you have a look on the recent tasks. Once it is done, it will rescan its data stores automatically, which is what's going on there. And you will notice now, if you have a look at the type, it'll say VFMS 5. To take a quick look at its properties now, you'll notice that our maximum file size is 2 terabyte. The block size has not changed. If you had any odd block sizes on your VFMS 3 volumes, the block size does not change by migrating it to VFMS 5. Be aware of that. Close that down. That's our data stores sorted. The next thing to worry about is VMware tools on our clients. I've only got one here, and I'm manually going to upgrade the VMware tools, and I'm going to select automatic tools upgrade. Be aware, if you automatically upgrade VMware tools, it will reboot the host when it's finished, which is not good in your production environment. You might not want to do it this way. You can of course use Update Manager to roll out your new version of VMware tools. Now I'm installing VMware tools to the box I'm actually on here, so if I open VMware tools, and go to about, you'll see at the moment it's running version 8.3.7, which was installed on it when it was in vSphere 4. In the background, it's going to update my VMware tools. It's going to reboot the server. I've got all that out, so I'm just logging back in again now. That's me back on post upgrade. I'm still in evaluation mode because I haven't put my licenses in. That's fine. Now let's have a look at our VMware tools, and hopefully, well, it's not moaning about being out of date anymore, so let's just double check. Got to open VMware tools. About, and you can see that we've now been upgraded to version 8.6. So that's our VMware tools upgraded. We're also going to want to upgrade our virtual machine hardware. Now you'll notice that I'm going to do this one manually. Now it's saying that this is undoable and it can't be undone, which is not strictly true, as I'm going to prove in a minute, but I'm manually upgrading all the virtual hardware now to version 8. That's that done. Now I've magically jumped back in time. It's now back at version 7 because I've reverted to snapshot, which you shouldn't be able to do, but there you go. And I'm going to do the same thing using Update Manager. VMware hardware upgrade. If you had a lot of hosts to do, obviously this will be a better way of doing it. Bear in mind, this will also need to reboot the host, so if you're in a production environment you need to plan in downtime for doing this. Click scan, and we are doing VMware hardware, so untick appliance upgrades and tick VMware hardware upgrades and scan. Now I only had the one server selected on the left hand side, so it will find that one server and it will find that it is not compliant. To make it compliant, we simply need to remediate it. Select it and hit remediate. Okay, we're doing a hardware upgrade. Smashing. Next. I'm not going to take a snapshot because it just slows down. So even though you say it can't roll back, when you do it by Update Manager, it gives you the option of rolling back. And that's upgrading our virtual machine guest hardware to version 8. Let's just make sure it's worked. Right click it and edit settings, and you should see, hopefully, up in the top right hand corner, virtual machine version 8. That's how we know it's worked. The very last thing we're going to need to worry about is putting the licenses on. You'll have seen it complaining about being in evaluation mode, so go home and go licensing. You can hit the Manage vSphere License button if you want, or you can simply right click and select Manage vSphere Licenses. I've already got mine on the clipboard, so I'm just going to paste them in and add them in and click Next. I'm now going to allocate my licenses, one to ESX2, one to ESX1, and one to the virtual center server. So my licenses allocated, click Next, yeah, and click Finish. And that's us done. That's our entire infrastructure upgraded from vSphere 4 to vSphere 5. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget to come and visit us at www.peaknetlive.com. Thank you very much.